Welcome back to my YouTube channel, our exciting journey into the fascinating world of rare coins, where today we are diving into one of the most remarkable and mind-boggling examples of numismatic rarity, the 1999 P5-cent coin, which has stunned collectors and enthusiasts alike by reaching an astonishing value of $44 million, a figure that might seem almost unreal at first glance. But when you begin to understand the intricate details, the history, the errors, and the anomalies that make this coin so extraordinarily valuable, you start to appreciate why the world of coin collecting is filled with stories that rival treasure hunts and historical mysteries combined. So let's embark on this fascinating exploration, starting from the moment this coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint in 1999, a time when the production of coins was generally considered routine, yet behind the scenes, the complex machinery, the delicate engraving processes, and the rigorous quality controls were all in motion, yet somehow a combination of subtle but significant errors occurred that would transform an otherwise ordinary 5-cent piece into a numismatic legend. First, consider the sheer rarity of this coin, as most coins produced for circulation are minted in the millions, designed to be uniform and indistinguishable to the casual observer, yet the 1999 P-nickel stands out due to a series of errors that happened during its striking, errors that are so uncommon that only a handful of pieces have been verified by experts and certified by professional grading services. The first notable error is the die clash, a phenomenon that occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, leaving an impression of the opposite side's design on each die, and when a coin is subsequently struck, it carries the ghostly remnants of the other side, giving collectors a unique and visually intriguing anomaly that is both subtle and unmistakable upon close inspection. Die clashes can vary in severity, but in the case of the 1999 P-nickel, the clash left distinct images that are easily recognizable by trained numismatists, adding layers of historical and artistic interest. Beyond the die clash, another factor that contributes to the immense value of this coin is the off-center strike, a condition in which the coin is not perfectly aligned with the dies during the minting process, resulting in portions of the design being cut off and blank spaces appearing along the edges. Off-center strikes are rare because modern minting machines are highly precise, but when they do occur, they create coins that are both visually striking and scarce, scarcity being a key driver of value in the numismatic market. This specific 1999 P-nickel has an off-center strike that is significant enough to be highly prized, yet not so extreme as to prevent it from being recognized and appreciated, adding a perfect storm of desirability for collectors. Another fascinating error present in some specimens is the double die, which happens during the die creation process itself, when the hub that imprints the design onto the die makes more than one impression, slightly misaligned from the first, resulting in letters, numbers, or images appearing doubled on the final coin. Double dies are often among the most sought-after errors because they are permanent on the die, meaning every coin struck with that die carries the anomaly until the die is retired. For the 1999 P-nickel, the presence of subtle doubling on key features such as the date and the lettering enhances its uniqueness and makes it stand out among other coins from the same year, adding to its allure and, of course, to its astonishing valuation. Another aspect that cannot be overlooked is the planchet anomaly, which involves imperfections in the metal blank before it is struck. Whether due to improper alloy mixing, contamination, or flaws in the blank itself, these anomalies can cause unusual coloring, texture differences, or even weak strikes, all of which contribute to the coin's rarity and visual distinctiveness. In the case of the 1999 P-nickel, certain pieces exhibit slightly off-color toning or faint surface irregularities that experts recognize as indicators of a planchet anomaly, further cementing their position as a premium collectible. The story of this coin's value also intertwines with the human fascination with mistakes and imperfection, because in a world where coins are mass-produced to exacting standards, something that deviates, even slightly, becomes inherently more intriguing and collectible. This psychological component drives demand, as collectors compete not just for rarity, but for the story, the mystery, and the historical narrative embedded in each piece. And when you consider that the 1999 P-nickel also comes from a year when overall production numbers were extremely high, the contrast between its abundance and the few exceptional error coins available makes the valuation leap even more extraordinary. It is also important to consider the grading process, because a coin's value is not solely determined by the existence of errors but by its condition. The professional grading services evaluate coins on meticulous criteria, assessing the strike, luster, surface preservation, and overall eye appeal, and the 1999 P-nickel specimens that have fetched multi-million-dollar prices are almost universally those that score at the highest end of the grading scale, perfectly capturing the anomaly while retaining an impeccable surface that collectors dream of. In addition to physical attributes, provenance plays a critical role. Coins that have been part of famous collections, auctioned in prestigious venues, or documented extensively in numismatic publications tend to carry additional value, and the 1999 P-nickel has a few key specimens that have circulated among high-profile collectors, appearing in prominent auctions and online marketplaces, creating a buzz and reinforcing its reputation as a must-have item for serious numismatists. The market dynamics also contribute to the staggering $44 million valuation, because rare coins are not just objects, they are investments, and like any asset class, prices are influenced by supply, demand, and the intensity of collector competition. For a coin like the 1999 P-nickel, the combination of extreme rarity, historical errors, aesthetic appeal, and verified high-grade examples creates a perfect storm where bidding wars can propel the price into stratospheric territory. It is also fascinating to consider the potential for future discoveries, as new specimens may yet be uncovered in circulation, private collections, or forgotten hoards, and each discovery has the potential to alter the market subtly or even dramatically. Collectors and investors follow closely any reports of new finds, weighing whether the discovery diminishes the rarity or enhances the legend surrounding the coin, adding a living, evolving aspect to the story. Furthermore, the 1999 P-nickel exemplifies a broader trend in numismatics where coins with production errors increasingly capture public attention and high dollar valuations, as people become more educated about minting processes and anomalies, understanding that the errors are not flaws in the coin's appeal but rather the very features that make them historically significant, and this trend is amplified by online communities, auction platforms, and social media, which can elevate a relatively obscure coin into global notoriety almost overnight. This means the 1999 P-nickel is not only valuable in monetary terms but has cultural significance in the coin collecting community, becoming a symbol of how imperfection can transform ordinary objects into legendary artifacts. Examining the minting process itself reveals why such errors, though rare, can occur. The Philadelphia Mint in 1999 utilized state-of-the-art machinery. Yet even the most advanced processes involve human oversight, mechanical tolerances, and intricate interactions between dies, planchets, and presses. When a subtle misalignment occurs at any stage, or when a die receives multiple impressions, or when a planchet is slightly malformed, the results are permanently etched into the coin struck, creating anomalies that decades later can capture the imagination and wallets of collectors worldwide. The 1999 P-nickel also provides an educational insight into the science of numismatics, as enthusiasts study die wear patterns, metallic composition, strike angles, and error classification to understand not only the how but the why of its formation. The more one studies these coins, the more apparent it becomes that each one tells a story of precision, error, chance, and the artistry involved in the minting process, adding intellectual and aesthetic value alongside the financial. And collectors are drawn to this combination of beauty, rarity, and historical intrigue, making the coin a multidimensional treasure. The story of its valuation reaching $44 million is also tied to the broader context of rare coin markets in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, when record-setting auction prices became increasingly common due to the rise of global collectors, the internet connecting buyers worldwide, and a growing recognition of coins as both investment and historical artifact. In this environment, a coin. Next, 1997, a D5-cent USA coin, today's fascinating journey into the world of rare coins, where every scratch, minting error, and unusual variation can turn an ordinary piece of currency into a treasure worth millions. And today we are going to dive deep into one of the most intriguing and astonishing examples in numismatic history, the 1997 D5-cent coin, which, despite being minted for general circulation, has captivated collectors and investors alike due to its rare errors and mistakes, elevating its value to an astonishing $43 million in certain extraordinary circumstances. And as we explore this coin together, you will come to understand why a small piece of metal, seemingly insignificant in everyday transactions, can command a price that rivals fine art and historic artifacts. And the story of the 1997 D-nickel is a story of human oversight, mechanical anomaly, and the intricate world of minting that most people rarely glimpse. In 1997, the United States Mint produced billions of coins across various denominations, yet among these billions, certain coins emerged with anomalies that set them apart from the vast majority, and the 1997 D5-cent coin is a prime example, because it contains a series of subtle but highly significant errors, the first of which is a doubling error known as a double die, where the design on the coin appears to have been stamped twice slightly offset, causing numbers, letters, or even parts of Lincoln's profile to appear thicker or shadowed, a mistake that occurs during the die creation process when a misalignment happens between successive impressions on the master hub, and while casual observers might overlook such details, professional numismatists instantly recognize the rarity and potential value such doubling can introduce, especially when it is clear and well-defined, and the 1997 D nickel also displays evidence of die cracks, which are tiny fissures that form in the metal die over time due to repeated strikes. And when a coin is struck with a cracked die, raised lines appear on the coin's surface that are not part of the original design, creating a kind of accidental artistry that collectors eagerly seek because each crack pattern is unique, and the presence of these cracks on a nickel that was otherwise mass-produced adds a layer of individuality and scarcity, amplifying its desirability. And in addition to die cracks and doubling, some 1997 D nickels exhibit off-center strikes, where the coin blank is not perfectly aligned within the press, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted, and while these off-center coins are technically still legal tender, their collectible value can soar, particularly when the misalignment is significant yet retains enough of the design to remain recognizable, and the combination of these anomalies on a single coin creates an extraordinarily rare specimen. Because while errors occur more frequently than most people realize, the convergence of multiple high-grade errors on a single 1997 D nickel is virtually unprecedented, and it is precisely these factors, the double die, die cracks, and potential off-center strikes, that contribute to the coin's staggering valuation, as collectors are willing to pay enormous sums for the chance to own a piece of minting history that represents both human error and mechanical imperfection. And the story does not end there, because the coin's condition, or grade, is also a critical factor in determining its ultimate worth, with uncirculated or mint-state coins fetching far higher prices than worn examples, and grading experts meticulously evaluate every scratch, luster, strike quality, and detail to assign a number that can significantly influence the market price, meaning that a perfectly preserved 1997 D5-cent nickel with clear double die features and visible die cracks can achieve the multi-million-dollar valuations reported, and beyond the technical aspects of errors. There is also the rarity factor, because even within the subset of coins that exhibit these mistakes, very few have survived in excellent condition due to the typical wear and tear of circulation, and historical records, mint reports, and auction data all support the conclusion that only a handful of coins meet the highest standards required for maximum valuation, creating a scarcity that fuels competitive bidding among top collectors and institutions, and the market psychology surrounding such rare coins is fascinating in its own right, as buyers are not just purchasing a piece of metal but a tangible connection to history, a snapshot of the minting process frozen in time, and the story behind each error, the way it occurred, the serendipity of its survival, the detective work involved in authenticating it, becomes a narrative that enhances the coin's allure. And interestingly, the 1997 D nickel also demonstrates how tiny variations, sometimes as small as a doubled letter or a faint raised line, can exponentially increase value, because numismatic enthusiasts prize uniqueness above all, recognizing that once such a coin is sold into a private collection, the chances of it appearing again in the open market are exceedingly slim, driving prices upward in a self-reinforcing cycle of rarity and demand. And in exploring the possibilities for why these errors exist, we must consider the minting process itself, where high-speed presses, heated metal, and repeated strikes create conditions ripe for anomalies, as even minor deviations in pressure, alignment, or die integrity can produce permanent and visible changes on the final coin. And when these factors converge on a coin that is subsequently preserved rather than circulated, the result is the type of numismatic phenomenon exemplified by the 1997 D nickel, which continues to captivate the imaginations of collectors, investors, and historians. And the fascination is not only in monetary value but in the story that each coin tells about industrial precision, human oversight, and the complex dance between mass production and unique imperfection. And over time, auction results, expert appraisals, and public interest have cemented the 1997 D nickel status as a blue-chip collectible. Often cited in numismatic circles as a benchmark for understanding how errors can elevate a common denomination into the realm of multi-million-dollar treasures, and beyond the technicalities of die errors, collectors also speculate about other unusual possibilities, such as variations in metal composition, anomalies in minting speed, or subtle shifts in die temperature, each of which could further differentiate one coin from the millions of identical issues produced in the same year, creating layers of intrigue and potential research opportunities for scholars and enthusiasts alike. And the appeal is also psychological, because owning such a coin is akin to possessing a fragment of history that defied expectation, where a mistake transformed a simple 5-cent piece into a symbol of rarity. And while some may question why a coin so small in size could reach valuations of $43 million, the answer lies in the convergence of scarcity, condition, uniqueness, historical significance, and the enduring human fascination with errors that defy the ordinary. And as we consider the broader implications, it becomes clear that the 1997 D nickel is not just a coin but a lens through which to explore the intersections of art, economics, history, and chance, illustrating how tiny imperfections can create immense value when combined with the careful eyes of collectors, the rigor of grading, and the stories that circulate alongside the coin itself. And for anyone entering the world of numismatics, this coin provides a powerful lesson in observation, patience, and appreciation for the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. And the market continues to respond to these forces, with collectors worldwide monitoring auction results, mint releases, and private sales to track the potential emergence of another high-grade, error-laden 1997 AD nickel, knowing that each such coin represents not only a financial investment but a rare opportunity to own a piece of history. And the fascination is further amplified by the fact that these errors are naturally unpredictable, meaning that the next legendary nickel might be discovered in a drawer, a roll of change, or a forgotten collection, transforming an everyday object into a legendary artifact almost overnight. And it is precisely this combination of unpredictability, rarity, and visual appeal that makes the 1997 D nickel such an extraordinary specimen, because it challenges our understanding of value, encourages meticulous attention to detail, and rewards those willing to explore the complexities of minting errors with the possibility of immense financial and historical gain. And when we consider all the known varieties of the 1997 D nickel, from minor doubling to significant die cracks and off-center strikes, we begin to appreciate the delicate balance between production efficiency and unique variation, and why collectors are willing to pay millions to secure a coin that embodies this rare convergence. And in conclusion, the 1997 D 5-cent coin represents far more than its nominal face value, serving as a testament to the intricate and sometimes imperfect processes that shape our currency, the persistent human fascination with error and rarity, and the enormous potential for small, unexpected deviations to yield enormous value. And as we continue to explore the world of rare coins, this nickel stands as a shining example of how mistakes can transform the mundane into the extraordinary, creating stories, wealth, and fascination that endure for generations. Last 2012's P5-cent USA coin, everyone to this exciting journey into the fascinating world of rare coins, specifically the 2012's P5-cent piece, a coin that has captivated collectors and investors alike due to its extraordinary value and the unusual errors that make it so highly sought after in numismatic circles. And today we're going to delve deeply into every aspect that contributes to this coin's staggering worth, which has reached an astounding $42 million, a figure that might shock many but is entirely justified when you understand the rarity, the history, and the peculiarities that distinguish it from the vast sea of ordinary 5-cent coins that were minted in the same year. As you may know, coins in general have always held both intrinsic and collectible value, but some coins rise above the rest due to anomalies that occur during the minting process, whether through die errors, planchette flaws, misstrikes, or variations in design, and the 2012 P nickel is one of the most compelling modern examples of such phenomena, a coin whose journey to fame began at the United States Mint in Philadelphia, denoted by the P mint mark. And although millions of nickels were produced in 2012 for everyday circulation, a handful experienced significant production irregularities that would, decades later, catapult their value to unimaginable heights. Understanding the errors begins with the basics of coin production, where metal blanks, known as planchets, are carefully cut from strips of metal and then stamped with dies bearing the coin's design under tremendous pressure, a process that is usually highly controlled but not immune to mistakes. In the case of the 2012 P nickel, One of the most remarkable aspects is a misalignment in the die striking, where the coin was struck slightly off-center, causing portions of the design to appear incomplete or distorted. These off-center strikes are particularly rare when they are severe, with only a few specimens known to exist in the entirety of the mint's production for that year, and collectors immediately recognize the uniqueness of this defect because it transforms an otherwise ordinary coin into a one-of-a-kind artifact. But the errors don't stop at misalignment. Another fascinating flaw found in the 2012's P-nickel is a double die occurrence, a situation where the die itself bears duplicated imagery, leading to noticeable doubling in key features of the coin, such as the date, the lettering, and sometimes even the image of Thomas Jefferson. This doubling effect, while subtle to the untrained eye, is highly prized among serious numismatists because it represents an imperfection in the minting process that cannot be intentionally replicated and adds an element of historical intrigue to the coin. In addition to the double die and off-center strikes, the coin is known to occasionally exhibit planchette defects, where the metal blank may contain impurities, cracks, or lamination errors. These issues cause raised lines, bumps, or missing material on the surface of the coin, and each such imperfection adds a layer of rarity and value because it ensures that no two error coins are exactly alike. Collectors often go to great lengths to locate coins with the most dramatic and visually striking anomalies, and when a coin like the 2012's P-nickel appears with multiple overlapping errors, its status in the collector community skyrockets. One particularly noteworthy feature of some of these coins is a phenomenon known as die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette in place, leaving ghost-like impressions of design elements on opposite sides of the coin. This type of error is extremely unusual and can turn an already rare coin into a legend among enthusiasts. Another factor that enhances the value of the 2012's P-nickel is its historical context. Produced during a period when the US Mint had already implemented strict quality control measures and modern machinery, any deviation from perfection is therefore exponentially rarer than in older coins from previous centuries, which makes each surviving error specimen a window into the extraordinary circumstances of modern minting. Beyond the physical flaws, there is also the sheer scarcity of these error coins, which is a critical component of their astronomical valuation. While millions of normal 2012 P-nickels exist in circulation and are readily available for mere face value, the number of confirmed error coins that exhibit the unique characteristics we've been discussing is extraordinarily small. Sometimes fewer than a dozen examples are known to collectors, creating an environment where demand far exceeds supply and driving auction prices into the multi-million-dollar range. Additionally, the provenance of each coin plays a vital role in establishing its worth. Coins that have been documented and certified by professional grading services, such as PCGS or NGC, not only assure buyers of authenticity but also significantly increase confidence in the uniqueness of the error. The 2012's P-nickel in question, valued at $42 million, has been authenticated and meticulously graded, with detailed documentation of its minting errors, which provides a narrative and historical weight that ordinary coins simply cannot match. These coins often inspire awe because they are more than just currency. They are tangible artifacts of chance and history, encapsulating moments when human awe, mechanical imperfection intersected with a process designed for mass uniformity. The psychological allure for collectors is also considerable. Owning a coin that represents such an extreme rarity conveys prestige and an intimate connection to the numismatic community. It's not merely about possessing money, it's about holding a piece of history that few others will ever experience, and this explains why collectors, investors, and enthusiasts are willing to invest millions for such an opportunity. The possibilities for a coin like this go beyond just static collection. It may be loaned to museums for exhibition, serve as an educational tool to teach the intricacies of coin minting and errors, and even become the centerpiece in private collections that draw attention from media and fellow collectors worldwide. Furthermore, the story of the 2012 P-nickel also serves to highlight the unpredictability of numismatic markets, where coins that would typically have modest value can, under extraordinary circumstances, become virtually priceless due to their rarity, condition, and documented errors, and this unpredictability fuels excitement and speculation among collectors, as they recognize that discovering or acquiring such an error coin could mean attaining a financial and historical asset unlike any other. In exploring the coin's specific errors, the misalignment often manifests as a significant portion of Jefferson's portrait missing or overlapping with the edge of the coin, producing a striking visual effect that immediately draws attention. The double die effect amplifies this by causing certain letters in the inscriptions to appear doubled or shadowed, and the planchette anomalies add a further dimension with irregular textures and imperfections that are impossible to replicate artificially. Every facet of these errors contributes to the coin's narrative, making it a subject of analysis, discussion, and admiration in numismatic literature, online forums, and collector gatherings. And as collectors study these coins, they often discover minute differences in each specimen, reinforcing the notion that each error coin is a unique creation with its own story to tell. Beyond the physical and aesthetic considerations, the economic and investment aspect cannot be understated. A coin that has reached a valuation of $42 million exemplifies the extreme upper echelon of collectible coins, and while such prices may seem surreal to casual observers, they reflect a combination of scarcity, condition, provenance, historical interest, and the sheer human fascination with anomalies. The market for error coins operates differently from standard numismatic markets because buyers are not simply acquiring currency, they are investing in rarity, history, and uniqueness, and the 2012 nickel embodies all of these qualities to an extraordinary degree. Potential investors recognize that such coins are effectively non-fungible, meaning they cannot be replaced by another coin of equivalent value or characteristics, unlike gold bars or common collectibles, and this non-fungibility underpins the massive monetary valuation assigned to the coin. Moreover, the cultural significance of coins like the 2012 nickel also plays a role, as they are emblematic of the unexpected in an otherwise uniform system. They remind us that even in a highly controlled industrial process, there is room for chance, for imperfection, and for the creation of objects that captivate human imagination. Collectors and historians alike are fascinated by these anomalies because they bridge the gap between mundane objects and extraordinary artifacts, and the storytelling around such coins adds intangible value that transcends metal content or face value. In terms of practical considerations, obtaining a coin like the 2012 nickel requires not just financial resources but also connections, expertise, and patience, as collectors must navigate auctions, private sales,